The National League is up and running. But after 3 games, Wrexham are playing catch up in the race for promotion. However, they have managed to pick up some very important results. Oh hi guys, welcome to episode 2 of WrexhamMania, the new show covering all the Wrexham news, match reaction and the big stories. Please get behind it. Thanks for watching episode 1, thanks for your support. Keep watching, keep spreading the word, get behind it. Let's make this bigger and bigger and bigger and better. Because let's face it, this is big stuff. Wrexham is the hottest story in football. Believe me, there's nothing bigger at the moment. Forget Ronaldo. Wrexham Football Club is hot stuff. Evidenced by their unstoppable actions in the transfer market. Wrexham have been an unstoppable force in the transfer market. They're going into clubs and taking their best players, their marquee players, and there's nothing the clubs can do about it. All the fans, because those players want to come to Wrexham. They're excited by the Hollywood project. They're excited about what's happening. The future is amazing. And as I said in the intro, 3 games in to the National League season, Wrexham have dropped a few points. They're playing catch up. Looking at the table here, they're 8th with Dagenham and Redbridge top on 9 points. They've won 3 games. Chesterfield and Boreham Wood also won 3 out of 3 on 9 points. Wrexham are 5 points, just behind Notts County on goal difference. So a bit of work to do, but they've picked up points where they dropped them last season. In the same games last season, they've bettered those results, which is something to be pleased about. Very encouraging. It's the name of the game. A very credible draw against Solihull Moors in a very difficult game. Disappointing to draw because of a 94th minute equaliser, but it was a very tough game. They found it very difficult. So I think a credible point on the opening day against Solihull in a game they lost last year. They've beaten Eastleigh in the second game, a game they drew last year, and in the most recent game back at the racecourse they got a draw with Notts County, a very important point in a game they lost last year. So a bit of catching up to do. They play Southend at the weekend. They must win that. You know, Southend haven't had it easy themselves. They're 10th. But a win for Southend would put them above Wrexham. So Wrexham don't want to fall too far behind. So they must win their next game at Southend United. As I said, Wrexham drew their opening game against Solihull, a credible draw, but they were able to get back to winning ways, get 3 points on the board, away to Eastleigh in their second game in what was a very competitive first half. You know, brilliant atmosphere, big crowd gone down to the Silver Lake Stadium in Eastleigh, a record attendance for away fans, 711, brilliant atmosphere. The Wrexham fans were in brilliant voice, very passionate. An Eastleigh supporter got thrown out early on for being a bit too overexcited, making a fool of himself. But it was a very competitive first half, very physical game. And Eastleigh's Ben House was fired up. He was raring to go, very confrontational, very aggressive. He had a few scrapes and a few scuffles, but Wrexham went into half-time 2-0 up, 2 goals from Jake Hyde. But before the first goal, Eastleigh had a few chances themselves, and in particular a free header, which, you know, perhaps, you know, should have done better with. But Wrexham were able to take the lead in what was sort of a difficult first half. They managed to score the second to go into the half-time very comfortable. The second half was a bit different. Wrexham were comfortable. Eastleigh didn't offer too much. You know, they were huffing and puffing. Wrexham well organised at the back with Hayden. You know, Bentosa making his debut. It was, you know, a comfortable second half for Wrexham. They didn't do much themselves. Jordan Davis had a few long-range efforts, but when Dior Angus came on, he changed, you know, the life of the game. He was very lively, very active. He was a, you know, real danger, Angus. I was very impressed with the impact that Angus had. You know, Eastleigh couldn't live with him. He was fresh and he was sort of full of pace and ambition. He caused a lot of problems, had a lot of half chances, and, you know, that's a good asset to have. When the game's a bit flat and a bit dull, to bring on someone like Angus, who was brilliant last year, didn't score as many as he could have. But, you know, he gets in positions, he creates chances. But a very good win for Wrexham. Away to Eastleigh, 3 points on the board. Well, 3 points for the win, 4 points on the board. And, you know, off and running. Great win for Wrexham. Now let's have a look at Phil Parkinson's reaction to the Eastleigh game. It was a great day for us, and I thought we started with real intent. There was a real drive about our performance. We got the 2 goals, and it could have been more. Their keeper made some terrific saves, and we had to work hard to make sure we got the clean sheet. Absolutely delighted with the win. That was the reaction from Phil Parkinson to Wrexham's win at Eastleigh. Wrexham's first home game of the season on the bank holiday Monday was against Notts County. You know, promotion rivals, an historic club like Wrexham themselves, the oldest football team in the world. And the racecourse was like a festival, absolutely bouncing. It was a great atmosphere, a great buzz, packed, a crowd of 5,400. I mean, in what was, you know, a very good game. A deserved point for Wrexham in the end, but they completely dominated the first half. There's no way they should have been behind at half-time. You know, they controlled most of the game, they had the better chances, they had a goal disallowed, many say it should have stood, but Notts County offered very little in that first half. Their tactics were to sit back, absorb the pressure and score on the counter. Which, I mean, they never looked that threatening, but got a decent goal just before half-time. Again, at half-time, Notts County, you know, an undeserved lead. To Wrexham's credit, they've come out in the second half much better, you know, with real intent. And Paul Mullin gets the equaliser. You know, another goal for him after his penalty on the opening day. But after Paul Mullin's equaliser, it did go a bit flat. You know, at about the 60-minute mark, I noticed a very flat, you know, both teams sort of happy where they were, and I'm disappointed with that. I thought Wrexham could have really grabbed the game by the Buster Browns, really grabbed it and took it up a level and done more. Notts County well organised, well disciplined, sitting back, but Wrexham could have perhaps done more to step it up, especially at home. But a draw at the end of the day, very, very fair, I suppose. Wrexham didn't do enough overall. And I suppose Notts County had a game plan, they stuck to it, they executed that game plan very well. Towards the end of the match, a bit more pressure from Wrexham, a few corners from Jordan Davis, Mullin, a few half chances, but nothing too clear cut, nothing too dangerous. Lots of throw-ins in from Ben Tozer. His throw-ins are like a goal kick. Forget a throw-in, you know, he's launching that ball in. Like he's at a par 5. Driving it forward. And whenever Tozer gets, you know, a throw-in into the box, you anticipate something's going to happen. And I'm sure, I mean, he's going to create numerous goals. Eventually, you don't want to rely on him too much. Like I said, there's an anticipation. There's a, you know, an expectation that it's going to lead to chances and the goals. But I'm sure that will come. But at the end of the day, a point, fair, I suppose, and it's a point better than last season. They could have won both games last season, instead they lost them. So this is a very, very, very important point against a promotion rival. Here is Phil Parkinson's reaction to the Notts County match. To come in at 1 goal down at half time was a blow. But we told the lads to be patient and that goal would come, and it did. The game went a bit flat, but that was understandable with the effort both teams put in and the fact that we had a game on Saturday. Those were Phil Parkinson's comments from the Notts County match. In this week's column, he reflects on the Solihull draw, which he's quite philosophical about, realistic. He understands it was a difficult game, and at the end of the day, a well-earned point. In, you know, disappointing circumstances, but a well-earned, credible point. But there's something interesting as well here when he talks about the signing of James Jones from Lincoln City. And he talks about Jones will provide options in midfield, and that the club wants to ensure that they've done all the business they wanted to when the transfer window closes, which, let's face it, Wrexham's transfer policy has been ruthless. It's been ruthless and it's been efficient. They've identified targets and they've gone for them. And they've managed to get most of them. You know, paying 200,000 for Tozer, that's a huge fee, considering where this club was last year. Players want to come to Wrexham. And like I said, it's been ruthlessly efficient and very, very well executed. Humphrey Ker also talks about the appointments of Kevin Mulholland to oversee the performance medicine and sports science department, which again he talks about, you know, the club becoming more modernised and more sophisticated and having improvements not just on the pitch and in management but in every aspect of the club. So he wants, you know, the treatment side of things, the, you know, physiotherapy side of things to be at a high standard, you know, a much higher standard than a National League club would be. You know, it reflects the ambition and intent of Wrexham. And this also is reflected, you know, in, you know, the youth teams and the women's team, which is mentioned in the column. How, you know, you have the foundations of the club that are in place to reach, you know, all aspects of the community, and you have a club that is much more solid than just the first team. You're not reliant on the first team to get attention and accolades and interest. You know, everything about the club, from the website to the medical department to the youth teams to the, the club shop, the merchandise, the infrastructure. It's having a solid infrastructure in place. So this club is ready to move forward. That's sophisticated, that's impressive, that's ambitious, and has a real identity of a club going places. And appointments like Kevin Mulholland, who's worked with Ireland, is a massive step forward, in achieving, credibility and, a well-staffed football club. Now, for this week's Wrexham Question, I'm going to ask, which Wrexham signing excites you the most? And why? Tweet us, comments on YouTube. Let me know which signing excites you the most and why. Is it because they've strengthened a position that needed strengthening, or because of the manner of the signing? The ambition, the swagger of going to a club, taking their best player and upsetting rival fans. Is it Paul Mullin for his goals? Jake Hyde, another exciting striker. Hayden, because it upsets the Carlisle fans. Ben Tozer, because of his set, his talent at throw-ins and upsetting the Cheltenham fans. Massive fee paid for Ben Tozer. Which signing excites you the most and why? Let me know. This week's big story is that Wrexham Lager have signed a 3-year sponsorship deal with Wrexham Football Club. They will sponsor the Old Yale stand, or the Yale stand, for 3 years, continuing a long association with the club. Now, I think this is very important. Wrexham Lager is a very iconic brand, established in 1882, served aboard the Titanic. It's featured, in many, historic and celebrated, Wrexham moments. It's appeared on some of the most popular Wrexham shirts. And, you can't live in the past. Wrexham have some fantastic sponsorship deals this season with progressive brands. New, modern, exciting brands. But to keep this affiliation, I think, is really important. And Wrexham Lager went out of business 20 odd years ago. The Roberts family, local businessmen, have brought it back. They've done a fantastic job. They're very intelligent. They're very creative. They've created the Bootlegger Pilsner. They do live events. They do lots of exciting stuff. And, they are going from strength to strength. They've revitalised the brand. Just like Wrexham has been revitalised. Just like the town is going to be revitalised. Very important, this, for Wrexham Football Club. Very important for the town. I think it's great news for everybody, and that's why it's my big story of the week. It's great that this has happened, and it's great that this partnership continues to work together and move forward. Great news. Good luck to everyone involved. So that's it for episode 2 of WrexhamMania. Stick with it, keep supporting. It's going to get bigger and better, and remember, spread the word, and Wrexham must beat Southend at the weekend. A must-win game. They need 3 points. Cheers guys, and I'll see you soon.